Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Marty.
Just got the thumbs up from the technical crew that they are ready, so we're proceeding. Thanks everyone for joining us. I'm really excited with what we have to share with you. Some of what we have to share with you is a continuation of what you've heard in the last few weeks and months. Some of this will be new, and really thrilled for us to talk about what I think are some key things to propel us as an organization. All right. So a few thoughts that I want to share with you. So how do I go back to the first? Back to these. Okay. So here's the three things that we're addressing here today. Scenic View's vision. We're addressing more about live, work, thrive, and we're talking about how to represent SBA. Okay. So part of this, if you'll follow along with my bullet points, so part of this, we're addressing these three areas. Help us advance further as an organization, make sure we are aligning ourselves with our founder's vision, and to help us prepare for a changing environment. So I'm going to touch on these points as far as the reason why we're here and why we're addressing this. So since January, members of administration, we have immersed ourselves in study for Scenic View and learning business models and really trying to fine-tune, make sure that we understand, and for me speaking personally, make sure that I understand what our vision is. Primarily our vision from the Nordis, when they set us up, is make sure that we're interpreting that correctly, identifying what are the key elements that they have wanted. To do that, we have consulted, we have gathered information, we've even reviewed past board meetings, early board meetings, and notes. So we've obtained information, we've also talked with people, we've also involved outside resources, people that we have consulted with, people that have provided trainings for us to help us understand visions and business models, particularly for nonprofits. There's something unique with nonprofit, and there's a number of things that I've learned, and we're going to be talking about this here today. One of those things that I've learned is a major difference between a for-profit and a nonprofit, and that is as we make efforts to increase and improve in our business model, for-profit, those efforts result in increased money going to the pocket of the owner. Nonprofits, those efforts result in increased money that don't go into the pocket of the owner, they go there. Go back to the program. And so as I have visited over the last few months with a number of individuals, talking to them about their experience, for-profits and nonprofits, you can have your preference, and I'm not here to say that one is better than the other, but at least for me, my personality and my style, I like that as I improve my efforts, I like that it goes back to a program and the students we serve rather than making someone more wealthy. And so again, not talking negative about for-profits, because it's a completely different model, but that is something, and I've heard a couple of people who have shared with me, they just said, Marty, sometimes it gets tiring that we're trying to advance and further our cause, and it's all for the result of making someone else more wealthy. And so I appreciate and have improved with my understanding, and I'm glad to work for a nonprofit for those reasons. Many of you are aware of the new law that has just recently passed in the last several weeks here in Utah. And already this week, if you're up on your news with the world of autism, already this week there is an announcement as a result of this new law up in Salt Lake. What's the name of the school? Carmen Pingree. So just as a refresher for everyone, so the new law here in the state of Utah is that there's no limit for services for people with autism, and there's no age cap for services. So any age and any amount of services that a doctor or someone who's prescribing the services provides. I don't know if you remember, I know we have a lot of new people, but if you remember, when I gave my state of director reports to staff the end of May last year, I don't know if you remember, this was one of the bullet points that we talked about, and we had no idea that this law would be passed here in 2019. No one could anticipate that. But what I did say is, one day there's going to be a law that will pass that will allow this. Little did we know that would be in 6 or 7 months from when I shared that. So it's already passed, folks. It's nothing for us to fear, and I don't think it's even anything for us to be reactive to, but here's my plan for us, and here's what I hope of all of us, that we are proactive, and we have plans in place. What this means, this could provide an amazing opportunity for Scenic View if we take it, but we have to be timely about it. So time is of the essence with what we do. When we started, the directors this study, we didn't know that there was a law that was going to be passed allowing for this. We weren't aware of that. So I'm grateful that that was a demonstration of us being proactive. Having plans in place, knowing what our vision is, knowing how to respond, that's part of the purpose here. The school Carmen Pingree announcing this week that, and some of the media got it wrong when they announced that Carmen Pingree is opening up a school which is the first school in the state of Utah serving adults with autism. And that, of course, is inaccurate. I've talked with people on the PR committee, and others of us are like, wait a second. And we all yelled out loud when we read that individually. So some of the media has since corrected that. And so it's got a lot of coverage on TV stations. All the local TV stations have covered this, and most of the major newspapers have covered it. So it's got a lot of media coverage. And if you're not familiar, so what they are doing is they're creating a school. This is a private school in Salt Lake that is primarily serves children. And we've been friends with them. They're a great, wonderful school. Now they're starting to serve adults, but they want their specialty to be serving the severe. So those that are on the spectrum and with severe symptoms with autism, that's their specialty. Do you think we can work together? Of course we can work together, absolutely. So that being an example, though, of what's transpiring. So already, here this week, the environment is changing. Again, it's nothing that I think we need to fear, but we have to be our absolute best. If we are not timely, folks, and if we decide to do what we're doing here today and how to evolve and do this in a year or two from now, guess what? I believe we will have missed the boat. We will be behind the times. We have something great going for us. We've been in operation for 18 years. That's pretty awesome. That's very, very rare, as you know, nationally. It's incredibly rare. And that's something that people are in awe. You've heard me say before, individuals, I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. How did your founders know to start you in 2001? We're just now thinking of serving this population. So we have some great things going for us, and I'm very excited. Even here today, having a program visiting us from New Hampshire. We've had more since January. We've had more programs from out of state and as well as university come and visit us. So we are being looked at as the leader. Whether you like that or want that or not, it's happening, folks. So that we've been in operation for 18 years doing what we're doing. So that we all commit, here's my last point, that we all commit to improving wherever we're at as an individual, wherever we're at as a program, wherever we're at as an organization, that we strive to improve and do better, and we strive for excellence. What we are doing is great, and it's awesome, and it's getting a lot of attention, and most importantly, we're serving people. But this is a time for us, if we're here, we've got to advance here. Both for ourselves, here's why we've got to do it. So that we're doing the very best we can as a program and influence the students in the very best way. Also, we've got to do it for our new environment that we're presently in. With that, I turn the time over to our next section. So thank you all for being here.